Even kijken. Hello? Hello, Niklas.
Hi,
Good to see you.
good to see you too. We made it.
We made it. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Despacito, ¿qué tal?
I'm good.
Finally, we made it.
First of all, my apologies for the confusion. I think I sent. I think the calendar invite was at the wrong timing. It looks like, right? We agreed 8 p.m.
Could be.
So my apologies. It's a stupid mistake.
Yeah.
Because
That's
I posted today about Instagram that I was going to meet you guys. So I was excited, and now I'm still at the wrong time. But anyway, we are here.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Awesome. Great. Yeah, great. We had nice Easter, I think. Yeah, all relaxing.
Ah, good.
And what about you?
I'm good. I had a ISTA retreat, International School of Temple Arts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like about conscious sexuality, so it was quite intense. Basically, a lot of people are having sex with each other.
Sounds tantric.
yes, but it was good. And no, overall, I'm good. Now it was quite intense, the retreat, and then this weekend I spent some time with them, but it was good. I think I've had a bit too many experiences, but yeah, sometimes you need to go all in, right, before you realize you're doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds interesting for sure.
Did you hear?
It will make you wiser.
Did you hear about it, the International School of Temple Art?
No.
So they call it spiritual shamanic sexuality, and they integrate sexuality as part of life. And of course, there's a lot of taboo on sexuality, but they make it more open. And that's, for instance, one exercise where you have to take a decision that is important in your life. And then first you go to your mind, then you go to your heart, then you go to your belly, and then you go to your sexual center. So they also make you aware that that part is a relevant part of life. But it's not so easy to explain, like why it's like what it brings or so. But it's definitely a cool experience.
Yeah.
Shall we do? What shall we do? Shall we do a little grounding exercise before we start?
Yeah, I would love to.
If
Sure.
one of you wants to guide, or shall we just do a silence? Because I mean, you guys also want to ground. If you guide, maybe you're not grounding. So I don't know what's your preference.
You can guide us if you want.
Yeah, let's do
Or
that.
we can just stay in silence as you prefer.
Yeah, I think. Why don't we do? Maybe just. Shall we do 3 or 5 minute silence? What is your?
3?
3.
Yeah, 3 is okay.
We just do 3 minute silence with eyes closed, and then it's easiest. Enjoy.
You too.
think the 3 minutes are over. That was good. Good to grant. Yeah, before we start, I mean, we pre-discussed it already, but I think it's good to do a quick check-in at the intentions today. I don't know, maybe your life has changed dramatically in the last 2 weeks. And you can also remind me again of the details of, let's say, how you want to be introduced. You know, is it acro yoga or yoga teacher or facilitator? So I make sure that I introduce you in the right way. So my intention, I'll start. I think there's a few things. Obviously, your extreme sports is definitely interesting, and moving through fears. I think that's a really cool topic. And then I also like your topic that you came from a let's say less wealthy family, but that you don't see limitations in life. So I think that's really nice. And then also that as a couple you want to merge into, you know, travel, working, living. So how do you merge love and work, and how does that look like? And if you have concrete projects, I don't know how your developments are going, but you're allowed to talk about your upcoming projects, because in the Soul Kitchen there's no limitations, right? So you can also mention at some point, oh, we're going to do this or that. So I think that's what I remembered. But you want to maybe briefly share your intention?
Yeah, I think it sounds good. You put it all good together in the sentences. We already talked about this. Yeah, something like this. Maybe we talk about our returning to Sachawasi. We'll go back there in the winter. And about this, yeah, me as a yoga teacher, and, you know, started meditating, overcame my limits or my limitations.
Yeah,
that was given to me. Yeah, that's something I would love to talk about.
So are you a yoga teacher or yoga meditation teacher?
Yoga and meditation teacher, yes.
Yoga and meditation, okay, it's good to know.
And I'm doing my coaching training right now. I already started to become a coach.
Okay.
Life coach, yes.
That's
yeah,
nice.
that's interesting as well, yeah.
Good to know. And for you, Niklas?
Yeah, extreme sports fits. I don't know what else makes sense in the introduction. I mean, I'm also doing the coach training now. I don't know if you probably still heard it. I decided it when I was still at Sachawasi. I guess you might have heard the same that Dr. Scott did. That's really interesting.
What's the name of it?
Being true to you.
Being true to you. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the part with facing your fears and that what you said in the beginning. So for me, that's fine.
But I like what you two have in common is that you use your professional discipline, you bring it into coaching, right? You bring your extreme sports and your fears, and you bring your yoga and meditation. So we can talk about that. And then you are the world record holder, or were you the former world record holder? There was something there. Please remind me.
Former world yeah. I mean, it's just every time they do such a thing, they try to just break the old record, because then it's a new world record again.
Altitude slacklining. Altitude slacklining, right? Former world record holder, altitude slacklining.
Yeah, or the highest. Yeah, altitude slacklining sounds like altitude or something. Yeah, I mean, why not?
Or is it something else? I'm just always double checking so I do the right intro.
yeah, I don't know. I've never heard it, but it probably means the same.
How do you say it?
I don't have a word for it, like the highest slackline in the
former world record holder in the highest slackline in the world. Okay, we're going to start. Enjoy, guys.
Yes, you too. Thanks.
I'm going to improvise also a bit. So welcome, friends, to a new episode of the Soul Kitchen. I'm talking to Niklas and Nicky, a couple that I met in Ecuador in the Sachawasi community where we were for an ayahuasca retreat. And Niklas is an extreme sports guy and former world record holder in altitude slacklining, or He had the highest slacklining attempt in the world. And Nicky is a yoga and meditation teacher. And they are now living together and also joining forces in becoming coaches, where they bring their professional expertise to the coaching fields. And we met over a few ayahuasca ceremonies, so we already discussed a lot of things. They were my acro yoga teachers in the jungle, and it was really fun to experiment with this new technique. And today we're going to talk about facing your fears, living your dreams, and not feeling limited by, I don't know, where you come from or by certain beliefs that you have. So my first question is to you, Niklas. So your TED Talk is about finding balance in extreme sports. Why did you choose that title for your TED Talk?
I chose it because I think it's a process. It's not a right or wrong, but you have to always adapt to the current situation. So I like that metaphor, finding the balance, and also because I do slacklining, so I know it from my own experience that slacklining is something really fluid. You always keep on moving to find the balance, and I think also when you have to make the right decisions, you have to stay flexible and moving in your mind.
Yeah. And can you explain people what is slacklining for those that maybe are not aware what it is?
Yeah, sure. Slacklining is similar to tightrope walking. So you have a thin, usually it's 1 inch wide slackline. It's out of polyester, for example. And then you tension it, let's say between two trees, and then you can balance on it. You don't need a pole in your hands. You just have your own body for balancing. And what I did then eventually was I did this not just between two trees, but also in the mountains high up between, on cliffs and, but usually with a safety harness. So you're attached to the high line and then you balance high up in the air. And that's also something pretty intense and a crazy experience.
And how has your journey been from at some point you were born and at some point you were world record holder slacklining? Can you take us a bit on that process? What have been your steps in between?
Well, let's say my family was always into sports. So I learned skiing, I think at the age of 3 or 4. And I always did a lot of sports, gymnastics, and so on. And then eventually a friend of mine asked me whether he should get a slackline. And I thought, well, that sounds boring. But he got it anyways. And then we tried it together for the first time. And I was really surprised that I couldn't walk over it. It was really short, like 5 meters long or something. And I thought, why is this so hard? I want to be able to do this. So I was instantly hooked and I wanted to get over there. And then I got my own slackline. I tried flips on it, like a backflip and so on. And eventually I met people who do it also up high. And then a totally different journey started again.
So your family was into sports. And when did you realize that you wanted to go into more extreme sports? Did certain people inspire you, or?
I think as a youth, I really liked some TV shows where they were showing like skiers, snowboarders doing crazy flips and so on. And they also had sometimes clips of people base jumping, so jumping from buildings or even flying with wingsuits back then. And I always thought that sounds pretty or looks pretty cool and must be a great thing to experience. And then when I finally met somebody who already did highlining and they asked me whether I want to join, the answer was already obvious. I was like, yes, I'd love to. I'd love to try that.
That's so cool. I think it's really unique. I've never met someone doing these things. And one of the topics is, of course, you have to face your fears. So can you explain a bit how that worked for you?
Mm, yeah, let's say when you go onto a high line, you realize, oh wow, this is different than balancing in the park. Suddenly there's nothing beneath your feet, there's just air and it's hard to focus. And then you realize your body feels different, you're more shaky. And now you're supposed to stand up on the high line and relax and balance. And you're already in this crazy state, you're agitated and you're scared, you're frightened. And so highlining is a really crazy practice of overcoming that fear, because you can only really balance well when you manage to relax. And so that was for me a really crazy challenge. I really liked it, and it's a game, and it becomes easier and easier the more you do it. And of course, it's a certain fear. That doesn't mean that I have overcome all my fears in my life, but I sort of started to realize how fears work. That once you do overcome them, they tend to go away, and then things become much easier.
Because can you explain a little bit the process of how it works with fears? You already said that they can go away, but how does it work?
I think it's important to take small steps, or at least take adequate steps. So if you do, let's say, let's stick with highlining. So if I'm afraid of heights, and the first time I try to walk a high line without any safety, then of course that will be way too much. That's just a huge step and it doesn't make any sense. So you try to make the adjustment small. Maybe you choose a high line that isn't even that high. And then it's much easier for your mind. So you just choose the right step size, and then you do it until you feel comfortable, and then you can level up again. I think that's important. But of course, sometimes what helped me is that in my mind, I knew sort of more of a rational thought. I knew, okay, I just have to do it. So I knew I'm scared, but I know nothing will happen. I'm safe, for example, on a high line. So I just need to do it, although there is the fear. And sometimes you have to take that leap of faith. And I'm pretty sure that also works with fears in other parts of your life.
So at some point you just have to do it. You have to step into it. Is there something that you prepare, like meditation, yoga, breath work?
So what I also do, do base jumping and wingsuit flying. And so there, before I jump, I usually try to slow my breath down. If I realize that I'm sort of taking faster breaths because I'm maybe a bit more excited than I want to be, then I really just to try to take deep breaths and slow down and clear my mind. So yeah, definitely meditation can help. But I think in the case of highlining already is meditation.
So it's a meditation in itself, but preparing with the breath can help. And you, Nicky, because you're a yoga and meditation teacher, can you tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah, I think my way into this spiritual and this world of sports and movement was totally different. So I came from a family without any sports surrounding or sports in the background. I didn't had opportunities to do so many sports or kind of meditations or yoga in my childhood or in my teenager years. But always felt kind of a lack of sense or like there have to be something more in my life than with just working or staying in a limited mindset. And so I started, I think, when I was about 20, 21, did my first yoga class. It was more like, I want to try something new. I did different kinds of meditations or movement practices, but yeah, finally find home in the yoga classes, in the yoga practices. But I have to say, I tried different styles and different yoga traditions until I found the tradition I stayed with, and the one I'm teaching since, almost 4 years right now. Yeah.
And what is that tradition about?
It's called Ashtanga Vinyasa. It's more a dynamic yoga. That's what I'm coming from, more a sporty one. For me, I had to get used to the thought that I'm a sporty person because I started late. But when I found out, I really start enjoying a sweaty practice. And this vinyasa style means that you change your asana, so your position, with kind of almost every breath. So it's very fast, very moving, and you can really connect with your breath and this natural, movement of your body that you have within while you're breathing.
You mentioned that you talked about yoga, but you also mentioned in your childhood you didn't want to be limited. Can you tell a bit more about the process of how you've been limited, how you broke through it, and maybe what role yoga played in it? 3 questions in one.
The role yoga played that came later in my life, just as I mentioned. But I would say what really lifts me up is that I came from a more, not a wealthy family with a more lower income. And I mean, we live in Germany, we have a good health and social system. So, but still there was this mindset or these beliefs of there was missing something or there was a lack in my life. And so I always had the feeling I'm not good enough to have a higher education. So we're a worker family, so I wasn't supposed to have a higher education or to study. Things like this didn't happen in our family, and even movement, sports, or inner transformations like developing your own personality. That's not a thought my family is coming from. They're easy persons. They like the little things. They like good food, but nothing like vacations or cars or bigger education. And so when I experienced that I'm still missing something and that I have a need for something more, for something bigger, that even maybe kind of separates me a little from my family, because I started late to study later, or even go into the evening school next to my job, and started to study and doing my own way and getting out of these limitations that my family taught me, and tried it on myself.
Can you give an example of something that you decided to try?
For example, the first movement practices like yoga or meditations, what was for my family totally crazy. We're not a spiritual or religious family. So it wasn't easy for me to talk about this. And even when I started to study, there wasn't so much like financial support, which even wasn't that possible, but even this mentally support wasn't so there. They was more like scared about me. They're workers and they want me that I can care for my own, that I can make my own money, that I can have a good job. And that's, if you study and go to school longer, maybe you will fail and you will not get that much money. So it was way easier for my parents to teach me, go start early with working and go get early into the market and start training. And so I did. I started working when I was 16, and I'm super happy that I was able to make all the business mistakes very early. And so I had the time when I was in my 20s to discover my bigger goal in life and to discover where I want to go and to start searching my spiritual way.
And what is your bigger goal in life?
That's a good question. it changed sometimes. Sometimes I reach my goals. I learned that I can really achieve what I want, and I can really become the person I would love to be. And then I become the person, and then I have new goals. So right now my goal is to do what I love more and more in my life. And right now this is to touch people with the work I'm doing, with the meditations, with this guidance I can give, with the space I can hold for them. Is it with yoga or with meditation or with personal coaching? That's something that's so sweet for me right now, and that fills my heart up.
So you want to guide and coach people, but in Ecuador, where we met, you also have been guided and coached by something called ayahuasca, the two of you. Ayahuasca is also a good guide. So maybe you want to share. Now, first, why did you choose to go there? Maybe Niklas, you want to start?
Actually, it's better for Nicky to start because he brought it up.
Okay, Nicky, can you share why did you choose to go there?
Yeah, I already had a thought since years. I had a couple of friends who already did it, and I already tried it 2 years ago with a good friend of mine. She's living in Guatemala, and we want to go together to Peru. And all was planned, and on the day I went to the airport. I had a positive COVID test. So I had COVID and couldn't fly. I wasn't able to fly to Peru. And so my whole ayahuasca trip was like canceled from one second to another. And I was totally, sad about this. And then I thought maybe it's better. Maybe, I'm not in the right state of my life. I'm not far enough. And then I was traveling like 2-3 years later, and was traveling through South America as well, alone by myself. And then Niklas told me that he would like to visit me. And so we chose Ecuador. It was easy for both of us to reach. And after 3 months of being apart, he stayed in Germany. I was in Colombia at this time. We chose Ecuador to meet there. And so the idea came up like automatically. I thought about it a couple of years ago already. Ecuador is known for its very traditional way of using plant medicine and ayahuasca, and that was something we was looking for. If we would do ayahuasca, I think we both was sure we want to do it with a tribe. We want to do it very authentic in the Amazonia and really guided with shamans. And so, I think the topic was in the air like for years almost, or for a couple of months, definitely. And so it just all came together that I was traveling in this area, and we decided to meet there.
And how was it for you, Niklas, when Nicky was talking about this idea? Was it already on your mind, or was it kind of a new idea?
I had heard about it, but I think on my own, I never would have decided to actually go there. But then again, recently, I've been more and more interested in meditation and certain states of consciousness that you can reach apparently through meditation. And I also read about certain, let's say, psychedelics that could also help you to experience that. So I was already interested in certain psychedelics. I was reading about it, also like the healing nature of it and the therapeutic potential of it. And so somehow it just made sense for me as well. It was the right time for me to go for it. So I liked it. I liked that, let's say, coincidence, or maybe no coincidence.
Maybe no coincidence. And now, when you look back at the experience, what are some of the key things that it brought you, so to say? Maybe Nicky, you want to start?
Yeah, I would love to start because it's easy and fast. Trust.
Trust?
Trust. I started or I deepened my trust in life, in myself. It was so inspiring to feel the connection and to, it feels so real for me what I experienced there. And it was the most part this big trust in my life, in myself, in my surrounding, in this world. And yeah, that fills me up with a lot of gratefulness. And that's something that I can still feel in my everyday life, and in the step I'm going now, and the future plans I'm doing, this trust that gives me confidence and let me grow.
Yeah. I recognize that it also gave me a certain trust. So I trusted that I want to go to the Amazon and then be there. And definitely some things have been addressed in my life, also by the great support of Scott, by meeting you guys. But it's kind of, you feel it inside, the trust, instead of that you know it, right? It's more, no, it's more, maybe it's a knowing, but it's kind of something that you feel inside. Or can you describe how this trust feels for you? Or
Yeah, it's not rational. I already had this feeling a couple of times, in a rational way, that, I know it's all good. I'm educated enough, I'm strong, I'm healthy, it's all good for me. But now I feel like this whole life is working for me. And that I can just, more like letting go and more floating into my life. There's now not more this need of finding and searching and where is my place, what is my perfect business, what is my perfect lifestyle. I am more able, and that's the point where even meditation and yoga helped me a lot, more able to enjoy the process and enjoy this stillness and this feeling of receiving.
so trust and stillness, and not overthinking if you're in the perfect place or the perfect spot.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that's
definitely comes to me.
it's a bit of a risk anyway, right? Because you're always changing, so
Sure.
it's never perfect. And Niklas, for you, what is kind of some of the insights that you got from it?
Insights. Well, let's say for me it was pretty inspiring because I met some amazing people there. I also learned a lot about trust and about my mind. I think I managed to let go of quite a lot of negative feelings as well, because that's what I also still experience right now, is that that I also still trust more. I doubt myself less. And but for me, the most important thing was it gave me back a vision of where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I had ideas, but I wasn't really convinced. I was doubting them. And now yeah, I got the wind back into my sails.
You got the wind back into your sales. That's amazing. And so, what are you now going to do that you maybe were still doubting before, to kind of bring it back to the practical world?
So what I experienced in one of the ceremonies was a deep feeling of love and connection that I never experienced like that before. And with that combined, I had some thoughts that seemed really right. And one of them was, I want to help people. And so I don't want to do my own projects, and well, I sort of still want to do that, but that's not the main priority. I want to share it with people, and I feel like I've learned quite a lot of things in my life already, and it would be nice to give something back. And so one consequence was that I started the coaching program, so I can work more on that skill. And also it's a coaching that actually is about helping people to go through a psychedelic experience. So it would also enable me to give people help people receive the experience, or make the experience that I had. So let's see where this is going, but I'm really excited.
And what's the name of the coaching program?
It's called Being True to You.
Being True to You. And what type of psychedelics is part of it. So how does it work? Is it like a 1 week thing? Is it like a 1 year thing? What type of psychedelics, or what's the idea?
Well, the basic idea is, let's say, they try to teach you how you can heal people, and the way you heal people, in their opinion, is to lead them back to their true self,
Mm-hmm.
to their essence, which is sort of blocked by certain ways of suffering, maybe, or because of addictions they have. So a big part of the coaching is actually addiction phenomena and the recovery from addiction, and only the last part is about working with psychedelics. And they also say it's not necessary to work with them. So it's a really individual approach of coaching, which probably is often the case, but maybe not so often with addiction treatment.
Yeah. And I think it's nice that you're doing this. And to what extent do you bring your extreme sports background into this process? So you have the coaching, you have the psychedelic, you have the extreme sport. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
So what I hope to do is that I can help people working with their fears in some way, because I feel like I'm experienced in that area. So it would be nice to help people with my experience there. So I would say I am pretty courageous, and maybe that can help people find their courage in tackling their own problems. So that would be something that I would love to see. And besides that, I guess I'm just really curious. I like learning, and I like to see where this goes when you really trying to connect with people on a deeper level. I think it can be really rewarding, and so I have been curious all of my life, and I think that's a nice new way of progressing.
Yeah. I think it's a nice triangle: the coaching, the psychedelics, and moving through fears with your extreme sports background. I'm curious, you mentioned the addiction piece. Is that something you're specifically interested in? Or because that part I didn't hear earlier.
Actually, I'm not particularly interested in it, or at least I wasn't before I started. It was just part of the coaching, and I was like, I don't know if I need that, but hey, let's still do it. And now that I heard it, I thought it was really interesting, because it's a more general view on addictions, that everybody has a way, has their addiction. If it's a screen addiction, pornography, shopping, and of course, like drugs, alcohol, or whatever, or adrenaline addiction.
Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of times you might be using the addiction to avoid feelings that are underneath it if you don't do it. So for me, it was a really interesting view on it, and I didn't expect it. So it has not been my favorite topic, but now I think it's a really interesting thing to look at.
So you discovered that during the process, and maybe at Satyawasi, we also touched upon topics such as addiction. And at some point you start to realize that a lot of people struggle with it, right? So you also, I think the deeper you go into this world, you realize how many people actually struggle with it. So I can also imagine that it came to the surface. So in my case, at this moment, I'm in a pretty good place in my life, I feel. Retreat has also been great for me, and I feel relatively balanced. Still, I can be a bit in the trap, as you've also noticed, like the being busy trap, right? So I'm excited about my projects. Then you get busy. Because you're busy, you forget your morning practice. Because you forget your morning practice, you feel busy. It's kind of the busyness trap. And I took some time off recently, so I felt less busy. But now the soul kitchen is picking up, retreats. I'm going to host retreats. So before you know it, you're back in the business trap. But how would you address that topic as a coach? And where would you start? Because I have it, but many people have this trap. So how would you approach that? We're going to make it a bit experiential now, this session. So, and the reason I'm asking you, because during the retreat in Ecuador, you guys are hosting a morning practice. So you seem, and the yoga. So you come across as kind of balanced. So I was curious, like, how would you start?
All right. Okay. So I'm not that far into my coaching program, but I can definitely tell you my opinion.
Yes.
I think there needs to be like a strong will that something has to change, otherwise you won't change. So if you don't know why you're doing it for, then at least for me, that's not motivating. So I experienced some periods in my life where I was depressed and I really thought, okay, I need to change something, and then you actually do it. And then when you reach a different state, then you don't want to go back anymore. So with the busyness trap, if you feel like, okay, I'm working too much, I'm doing it over and over again, and then I feel bad, and there is a problem, that's a pattern, and I want to break through this pattern, then you need to find your own solution, what works for you. Maybe you take less of the less appointments, or maybe you say, okay, sometimes it's okay that I'm too busy, but then I take a longer break again, and then I can ground myself again. I think it's up to the individual to decide, but the important thing is to actually notice that something is wrong and that you want to change it.
I see. So it's first with noticing, and it's really wanting to make a change. Otherwise, you won't make it. And Nicky, from your point of view, what is your view on being busy? I mean, have you been busy in the past, or what's your yoga teacher? What's your view on being busy?
Yeah, plenty of times. I'm more or I'm more in danger of getting in burnout as in bored out. I like projects and I like doing a lot of stuff. So yeah, I can really feel into this being busy. Of course, there are plenty of options. Let's first take a breath. That's always helpful, but sometimes even this one breath or these three breaths aren't enough. So yeah, it sounds like something you could change on your daily life, and then it's important, or maybe a way to prioritize, to get back or to step away from all this schedules and all this stuff to do, and check, what do I need right now? What is my next step? What is really important for my projects? From all these things I got to do, what is really the important stuff for me? What do I want to put more in my life? And maybe it's easier for you to make the decision in which direction do I want to go? Which tasks will get more attention and more time? And so on some days, it can be okay to skip your morning practice and to skip your meditation and your yoga when you feel that you're still close to yourself. And I think with mindfulness and awareness for you and your thoughts, you will realize the time when you get more away from your true vision and the things that are important for you. And then it can help again to get into your practice, to take this time and to prioritize yourself. Because I think when you're close to yourself, you will always realize that you're worth it.
Yeah. And how do you do that at a daily basis? What is your daily practice?
I even don't have a daily practice. I skip it from day to day. I try to meditate daily. There are days that are working really good. There are days that it might not work that good. I'm even a practitioner. I'm a forever seeker and student. So my daily practice is about being mindful in my daily tasks, to to observe myself, the way I'm talking, the way how I'm thinking, where are my scares, where my fears, what am I scared for, where are my thoughts, what am I doing when I'm bored, when I'm stressed, what kind of things do my hands like to do when I'm stressed, or when I want to get out of a situation where I feel uncomfortable, or this mindfulness in my daily life and the people I'm surrounding myself with. And of course, on better days when I have more time and when I felt that I lost myself a little, I do my 60-minute Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga class. And it might be sweaty, and I need more time for breathing, and I need more time than 20 minutes of meditating. So I try my 20 to 30 minutes meditating in the morning, and there might be days that I need more, and there might be days when I need less, but I feel the days when I skipped my meditation, they're different. And it's easier for me when I really get this shift in the morning and get close to myself.
I see. So the meditation is really important, and you take this Ashtanga yoga sometimes. Well, thank you for sharing. I think that was interesting topic, the busyness trap that many people can be can be caught in. So let's talk about another topic, a bit your shared vision for the future. Because in Ecuador we were talking that you're two individuals. At some point in life you cross paths. You maybe want to host retreats together. So can you give an update with me, but also with the people listening? What is kind of your shared vision for the future?
So I can start. There has been a new development that we can actually return to the tribe in Ecuador, where we spent 3 weeks together with you, and can work there. Nicky as a yoga teacher, and I could already work as a coach there, and also get some experience with the people there, and that would be really nice. Are you still there? I mean, you can cut this, right?
Yeah, we can't hear him anymore.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I can cut it. I touched the thing and it was saying weeks. So there's no problem. We can cut it. It's still recording. So I said about the update for the future, and then you said I'm going to Satyavasi. We can stay there for a few weeks or something like that. But then afterwards, so maybe we need to start.
I just start from the beginning.
Yeah. So what is your shared vision for the future?
So there's a new development. We can actually return to the tribe in Ecuador where we met you and had our ayahuasca experiences. And Nicky can teach yoga and meditation there, and hopefully I can already work as a coach. And this can be a really great experience for us to experience how it is to work in that field, helping and healing people. And I think that can be really fulfilling. And then I think from there on we will plan the next steps. But for us, it's really nice to get this opportunity. What do you think?
Yeah, Nicky, tell me.
Yeah, exactly. We were so lucky and so surprised. Dr. Scott, the psychotherapist you even already interviewed here for his recipe of life, Jasper. Dr. Scott Irwin, he asked us, and he asked us to come back and to work with him, and we both, I think it was pretty sure very soon they want to come back, at first to live in the Ecuadorian jungle. I mean, what an adventure. Awesome. Wow. What kind of people you're meeting there, the the guests and clients that are coming there are so interesting people. To work more with the medicine. It was so interesting to see what ayahuasca changed in our life, already changed. You know, we will, change our whole lives. I will quit my apartment, my job, and will go back to Ecuador to live there in the jungle with Dr. Scott and helping people to heal. And it's so wonderful to use my experience that I had with yoga and meditation and different kinds of self-development, and now even with my coaching experience that I'm collecting right now to really support the clients and patients that come from everywhere in the world, come into the jungle to getting healed with the medicine. And it's an honor for me to work there and to learn from Dr. Scott and to grow with Niklas in our new steps.
That's amazing.
And I think it will really transform us in a professional way, in a personal way. I think it's really touching. It's really something what happens inside me when I'm working in this field. But even for us as a couple to work together the first time and to live so close to each other and to really get so close into this psychedelic stuff as well. And that's really intense, I can imagine. We're super excited for this new step. No one really knows what will happen after. So
I think it's a very exciting step. But when we met, you also talked, about maybe hosting retreats in some parts of the world. There's probably a lot of work, especially in the beginning, to recruit individuals. And now at Satyawasi, people are coming and you can focus on your new activity, right, as a guide and in the jungle. So that is pretty incredible. And are you planning to stay there for a certain amount of time, or is it kind of undefined?
That's hard to say. We just kind of planned like for 6 months. So we'll go back in October. That's 6 months now, October 23. And it's a thing about the visa and the money, how it will all work. There's not like any contract we're having or any securities. So it might be longer or shorter. It's hard for us to say. I think we don't have any plans yet about the amount of time we'll spend there. It's open. I try to live in trust now. I try to live more free of, and to take the possibilities I have or that will come to me. But cool. I still love living in Munich, in Germany. It's still a beautiful life here, and it could even be very possible that after the 6 months we will come back to Germany and start a new life here, even with maybe doing retreats or working in different types of coachings.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And if people that are listening want to come to Ecuador, if they want to go on an ayahuasca retreat, what are some of your recommendations if people are still doubting whether to go? What are some practical tips?
There are plenty of them. If you want to work with ayahuasca and the medicine, I would always recommend to just start your journey from inside. So not give too much on information from outside, just more listen to yourself. Why do I want to make this step into my, why do I want to get closer to myself? Why do I want to use such a strong medicine for helping? And what is the call directly? And then inform yourself. When you're sure you want to do it, get online, try to find a good retreat. In the Satyawasi retreat, where we all three ended up, there was the possibility to call the psychotherapist who was living there, to call Dr. Scott and just talk to him, to a specialist for 30 minutes. And he will guide you through this, to your medical background, to your psychotic background, or your mentally background, and to find out if it's the right for you, which center or which tribe, which part of the world is the right for you, and what is the right time.
And Niklas, do you have any additional recommendations?
So I can definitely chime in on that I think it's important to know your intention, to know why you're going for that step, and when you decided to go for it, then stick with it and trust. It's all about trust, and it's a crazy journey, and everybody has his own or her own experience, and so it's hard to generalize. And also, I don't want to give too much away, but I think it can be a really transformational experience. And if you decide on doing it, make sure that you also integrate what you have experienced. So not just, let's say, take some psychedelics at home and then hope for a healing effect, but rather try to do it consciously and have maybe some expert who can help you to make sense of what happened during that experience, during the trip, or whatever you might call it, the ceremony. And that can make the benefits of it much longer lasting, and so also much better, much more profound.
I see. Yeah. Well, what an adventure you're embarking on. I think this brings me to the next question. In the Soul Kitchen, I always ask people what their recipe for life is. So maybe, Niklas, do you want to start? Like, what is kind of the recipe for life you want to share with the listener?
So I will go for face your fears, because I think that fits really well to my lifestyle. I made some unconventional decisions in my life, but I never regretted them, at least not for long. Sometimes I thought I should have done something better, but in the end, now I'm really happy about where my life has taken me. And I think fears are either signaling you danger, and then you can just stop being afraid and know, oh, I shouldn't go that way. That's dangerous. Or you can figure out, well, this fear is irrational. Then let's face it, go through it, and live a better life after it.
So face your fears is kind of your recipe for life. And Nikki?
Yeah, I love this. I totally believe in the power of trust, as I mentioned already, and trusting yourself, especially trusting the world, which is a really, really good place, with really good people, and trust that you're protected, that you can protect yourself. I think it's we're kind of a society which limits itself, and so it's so easy to make yourself small and to hide yourself behind fears, and to make yourself smaller than you are. And I think that's a big loss for the world. So everyone should go their own paths and find their dreams and follow the goals that they want to have in their lives. So yeah, trust yourself and go for your dreams.
Trust yourself and go for your dreams. And they're also based on your own childhood experiences, right? Where you stretch your limits for your own dreams.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing your recipes. I think there has been shared a lot of wisdom already so far. Is there a topic that we haven't talked about that you would like to talk about or share with the world?
Feels complete for us, I think.
Feels complete? That's good. That's good. I wanted to check in, but I think we had a very complete podcast. So I want to thank you for your time and wisdom. Maybe as a final piece, I mean, we already touched upon a few practicalities, but if people are listening and they're curious to meet you or connect with you or work with you, I mean, are you open for that? How can they reach you? Maybe some practical end note.
Yeah, maybe if they want to come to the jungle to us. That's a possibility, or even meet us online for online coachings, maybe about my website. That could be an idea. It's in English and German. It's Nicky, Nicky, minus Nilaya, Nilaya .de.
Thank
And
you.
we're
Niklas?
We're also on Instagram, of course.
Yeah, we are also on Instagram, so maybe that is also a way of connecting with us and also getting some insights into our lives, not so much in mine, because I'm really bad with keeping my Instagram up to date, but Nicky is really good at it. So my Instagram is Niwizzle, Niwizzle. And yours?
Mine is Nicky Nilaya Yoga.
Ah,
So would you like my name? Nicky Nilaya Yoga.
that's good. So if you like this episode, you can reach out to them. But going to the jungle, I think, is my best recommendation, you know, to take a few weeks out. That's what I like most about it. You take really a few weeks out to stay there in the jungle and go deep. So yeah, it was a pleasure to talk to you today, and thanks to the people for listening.
Thank you, Jasper. Gracias.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
We made it.
Nice.
Woohoo.
How was it for you?
Finally. Nice. Awesome. Felt natural, like we did it like hundreds of times, of course.
Natural, right?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, it was really it was fun. I liked it. I liked the questions, and sometimes I thought, okay, wow, I think my English has been better before. Sometimes I was looking for words, but I think it was really good.
I think it was good, and it was 45 minutes. Is also nice, you know, because an hour sometimes is long for people. So yeah. So next steps. Andrew is helping me, so we will create the show notes and the title. We will send it to you. Then take a look if you agree, let's say, with the text, and maybe have some comments. And there is, let's say, 2 episodes before you, so it will probably take 2-3 weeks before it's live.
Awesome. Great. So we can prepare.
Yeah,
Looking forward to it.
and then we will share it with people. You can share it. And what is cool, we will create a quote and a sound bite that we will share on Instagram, but that you can also share. So we'll create some promotion materials.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know your job.
Yeah, so that's so. Yeah, it was such a pleasure, and yeah, I enjoyed also listening to what